The PlayStation Plus games for May 2018 are set to be announced in just a few days, and in this video we want to go over some games that we would love to see as PlayStation Plus subscribers for the month of May. As always, this is all just speculation and requests, but there has always been talk about the PlayStation Plus offerings every month being disappointments. I think in recent months that has not been the case at all. You look at every month throughout 2018, January was a great month, February wasn't all too great but still decent, March was an absolute home run, and April was pretty good as well. So I think all the talk of PlayStation Plus being rather weak compared to games with gold has made Sony step up their game, and I think it's important to always get our voice out there in terms of what games we would like to see as a part of this service. As always with this series, I put in realistic requests. We're not going to be seeing Monster Hunter World or like God of War on PlayStation Plus. That doesn't make sense, but there is always opportunities to put great games as a part of the Plus subscription service. So let's just get right into this with 3 games that we would love to see as PlayStation Plus subscribers for the month of May. Now, the PlayStation 4 actually has another gigantic exclusive on the way in May with Detroit Become Human, and what better way to get gamers ready for that than get them acquainted to one of Quantic Dreams' best works in Heavy Rain. Offering Heavy Rain as a PlayStation Plus title would be great. Some Quantic Dreams games aren't as good as other. You look at titles like Beyond Two Soul, that game left a lot to be desired, but with Heavy Rain, that was one of their best experiences that they've ever crafted. It's an absolutely absorbing experience with incredible storytelling and phenomenal character development. With Heavy Rain, I don't think a lot of gamers even know that the game is available on the PlayStation 4. It just quietly came out on the PlayStation Store back in 2016. It was released as a compilation with Beyond Two Souls, but that never saw a release here in America. But Heavy Rain has been available on the PlayStation Store for quite a while. It's not too big of a remastering. It looks pretty much the same, but it's a great game nonetheless, and at this point, who's really buying Heavy Rain? I think it would be great to offer this as a PlayStation Plus title. And for those that aren't completely sold on Quantic Dreams experiences, Heavy Rain is one that would absolutely sell them on these games and get them ready for Detroit Become Human and what Quantic is cooking up with that title. But Heavy Rain would be a great addition to our PlayStation Plus library. Another game I'd love to see as a PlayStation Plus title in May, and I'm pretty sure that this game will be a part of Plus at some point, maybe not next month, but What Remains of Edith Finch would be a great game to see as a Plus subscriber. This was a game developed by a studio known as Giant Sparrow, maybe a studio a lot of you aren't familiar with, but they also did the great Unfinished Swan. That was a PlayStation 3 release, and 5 years after the release of that game, they brought to us What Remains of Edith Finch. What Remains of Edith Finch has a young woman revisiting her old family home as she recalls and uncovers the stories of various family members that lived in that house and died. It's a very story-driven game, so honestly, I don't know how good of an idea it would be to offer Heavy Rain and What Remains of Edith Finch on the same month, as Heavy Rain is also a very story-driven experience, but nonetheless, Giant Sparrow's What Remains of Edith Finch would be a great addition to the Plus library. It did release back in April of 2017, so you could still consider it a somewhat recent release. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the release, but at this point, I don't think this is a game all too many gamers are picking up, and offering it as a Plus subscriber might get Giant Sparrow's name back out there. And finally, the third game, and I think this might surprise some people, but hear me out on this one, it's Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, why didn't you just include Middle-earth Shadow of War? That's the more recent release, but as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we gotta be realistic with our requests. And yes, while back in March, Sony was able to offer us Bloodborne as well as Ratchet & Clank, Shadow of War was a game that just released in 2017, late 2017 in that, and it still goes for a rather hefty price, but why not give gamers the first title in Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor? This game released all the way back in 2014, and by many it was considered to be the best PlayStation 4 game up until that point. Now, that was just about 10 months after the release of the PlayStation 4, so that's not saying all too much, but still, you had some decent competition, and Shadow of Mordor was an excellent open-world action-adventure game. Now, I think it would be a great idea to give Shadow of Mordor as a Plus title, because Shadow of War actually had a lot of controversy surrounding it, based a lot on the microtransactions in that game, but Monolith has done a really solid job of remedying the gamer image of Middle-earth Shadow of War, and now it's rather positive. They've released various updates, and they've actually announced that all microtransactions would be removed from the console and PC versions of Shadow of War by July 2018. So what better way than to continue that positivity than offering Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor as a PlayStation Plus title. I think this is a game, as it did release back in 2014, so many gamers have picked up their PlayStation 4 after that, and it's a game that would resonate as a free title, as many probably missed out on it, and it's a good enough game where I think gamers would enjoy it. It would open their eyes to Shadow of War, and they'll see everything that Monolith has been doing with that game, creating new updates, making the experience better, removing microtransactions, and I think it would be a win across the board. But that is going to conclude this video. What do you think? Which games would you like to see as PlayStation Plus titles in May? Again, what we think would be good ideas: Heavy Rain to promote the release of Beyond Two Souls. I think that's an obvious one. Sony owns that game as well, so I think they're really missing out if they don't offer that game. What Remains of Edith Finch was a great game by Giant Sparrow, and at this point, not a lot of gamers are talking about it. Why not introduce them to this solid title? And then Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor would also be a solid freebie, as Shadow of War has seen a lot of updates, and it might be seen as more goodwill if Monolith and Sony can come to an agreement. So sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.